it feel
This
to...
slushie is hitting so hard. OMG.
You wanted this earlier too, so I bet
Man.
So tonight is our first real public screening of this film. So thank you.
How does it feel, Pharrell, to be sharing your story in Lego form, especially with the youth in here? They're in the building tonight.
So exciting. I'm so glad you said the youth is in here tonight so I can be on my best linguistic behavior.
Just like the film, right?
The slushie is banging though. And it's definitely like really good because I can swear that's Jermaine right there. Oh, that is Jermaine. Okay, I'm not crazy. Cool.
Now, your animated biopic could have catered exclusively to adults, but why did you choose to make it in Lego so it can be accessible to everyone?
Well, first of all, I didn't want to do, I didn't want to have a documentary about my life. It's, for me, that was like listening to a voicemail of your own for an hour. You like your voice on a voicemail? Is that fun for you guys? Yeah, imagine doing it for like an hour and change. Like that's what I thought I would feel until, my agent at the time, who was just very persistent, was like, look, you can do it any way you want. And I was like, okay. And so we discussed Morgan Neville because he was just such a masterful storyteller with 20 Feet from Stardom, and then he had just done the Mr. Rogers doc, Won't You Be My Neighbor? And yeah, right. So it was like, oh, this guy is so amazing. Like, if he can do that with my story, then yeah, I would give him complete autonomy to not only the story, but also what music went into the doc or whatever, and that's exactly what happened. He's that, And I'm a big kid, like I'm a really big kid. And, part of my journey was to like get over, as you guys saw in the film, is to get over the hubris that I had. Was very arrogant and very pompous, and I thought the world like revolved around me. And, because of that, if I would have done, if it would have been left up to me, then it would have been like this really stuffy story, or not even a story. It would just been like a collection of just like all the hubris that I had, like I did it this way and I did it that way and I can do this and I can do that, and it wouldn't be a cohesive story. So part of my journey was to like get out of my like way, move my ego, like remove my ego from the process, period, and just give it to him. And this is if you like the film, this is the reason why it works, just because this man is a genius telling people's stories.
It helps to have your story and your music, but really it's your magical thinking. I mean, this film is a product of the same magical thinking that you have brought to everything. Like, I didn't think of doing this movie in Lego, you did. And that is such a leap. That's the kind of leap that I was inspired by.
Well, thank you.
So Morgan, how did incorporating Pharrell's body of work into an animated biopic help tell his story?
It's interesting because, we didn't know what the story was going to be. There were no instructions. So part of what I really responded to was you talking about growing up and all the influences you had. And we went back to Atlantis, to the projects you grew up in, and we went back to Virginia Beach. And that becomes the whole first part of the film, because to me, it's like the seeds of everything are there. And that's before we even get to anything in your career, really. But to me, that was hugely important. And then what started to emerge as we were talking about it is this journey that you've been on of not just the creative journey, but the emotional journey, the journey with yourself and with the world. And like, that's something that resonated with me. So it was, in a way, you know, the music was great and important, but the music was almost beside the point. The music was just the art you were making and a reflection of how you saw the world and created things. And so, to me, that got me excited. That and the music happened to be great. So, you know, and then going through and finding songs from Pharrell's catalog to help tell the story in a way that are maybe used in a different context. And then, you know, that was like, that's amazing. I always feel like if you're making a music film with great music, you're like halfway there when you begin, because you've got something great to play with right up front. And then you wrote new music for the film. And that was interesting, because I showed you the film and then you started writing music reflecting on my version of your story, which you had told me. So it became a whole new thing.
Just bouncing energy off of each other. Sorry.
Yes.
So at one point, Morgan mentioned the film touching on your time returning to Virginia. So I wanted to ask, what was that like, out of all of the places you've been and then having to come home? How was that homecoming for you?
It continues to be an honor and a gift. If you think about, you know, some of your earliest memories with like the toys that you were blessed to be able to get when you were young, and let's say for you it was Lego sets, and to fast forward to this moment right now, to be in front of all of you amazing people who've generously shared your time and space to watch our film. The honor it is just like beyond definition. But when you think about what it is that you guys have just watched, it's like, man, I never dreamt in a million years that when I was playing with these Lego bricks and pieces, that we would make a film called Piece by Piece one day when I was 51. That's crazy to me.
I was gonna say, is Cetaphil still in the skin regimen?
Gratitude is probably gratitude and a lot of exfoliation. But this is an honor. You know, again, like I said, the definition escapes the intention when I say how thankful I am to this man, you know, my producing partner, our other producer, Kate. Like, it's crazy that we get to do this. And there's a lot of things we want you to take away from this film, but man, one of the main themes is it is never too late for you to figure out what you love to do or what makes you happy. And say to yourself that, you know, whether you're 8 or 80 years old, that you can achieve your dream, but you just gotta do it piece by piece. Like, it's never too late. And I gotta tell you, man, now is such a better word than never. You just really think about that concept. Now is such a better word than never. You can do it.
Now, towards the climax of the film, well, more so midway through the film, you start to struggle with your authenticity, or at least your character does. Now that we have a lot of children in the room with us, what is your message to them to remain original despite the factors against them?
Wow. You. Be confident. You are not an accident. You're not a mistake. You're not a coincidence. You exist intentionally. like the universe decided that you know, our creator has decided that you exist for a reason, and that reason is your purpose. And once you figure out what that is, don't let anyone or any distractions get in your way. And it's crazy because we live in such a crazy, crazy time where there's so much division. And that division is usually based on someone else's discomfort for your difference or your ideas or your opinions, or even sometimes like who you are, your identity, whether they agree with your identity or not. It's a crazy time. But I believe in you, and I want you to believe in you, because when you do, there's like nothing that you can't accomplish. Like I said, there's a lot of division. A lot of division. But if you will humor me for a second, if there's something that you really believe in, like a cause or just something that's important to you, right? I know it's an incredibly divisive time, but just bear with me. If there's something that is very important to you, like a cause or an idea or anything like that, you don't have to share it with anyone, but just stand up.
That's everyone.
The reason why I said that to you is because despite all the division that's out there in the world, they want you to be at each other's throats. They want you to pick a side, they want you to have bias. But what you've just proven is that all of you have different ideas, but if you notice and look around the room, you still stood up together. That's the power of like being different and loving yourself and loving what you're into enough to just stand up. And what you just realized is that you guys could stand together without even discussing what your differences were. You just stood up for something that you believe in, and you realize that you're standing up next to your neighbor. That's the power of what you can do, and that's what this film is all about. And again, you don't have to get it done tonight. Just literally think about it and take it piece by piece.